Hello everybody and welcome to the first video on Moldy Music Reviews. Today's review is on the 2019 Shadow of Intent album by the name of Melancholy. I only picked this album because it's an album I really love and I've been dying to talk about it for a while now. So without any further ado, let's get started on track 1, Melancholy. Now, talk about a way to open up an album. This track will absolutely get your blood pumping and potentially melt your face. While an absolute powerhouse of a song, there is a much more somber tone in the lyrics, being a song about being in a depressed state with no hope of getting out. The chorus goes like this: falling into oblivion, it shall envelop all, engulfed by fire and cast to the flame, pure melancholy. It sends chills down my spine every time I hear it. They use a very interesting technique throughout the album involving both guitarists singing the, let's just call them semi-clean vocals, and they sing it on slightly different tones to create a strange audio effect that just sounds absolutely wild. It sounds incredible live, by the way, and it brings a lot of depth to the lyrics and the sound in general. And they use this through the whole album at varying points, mostly during choruses where both guitarists are singing. And now that we've been introduced to the album, let's move on to track 2, Grave Singer. Now, this is easily my favorite track on the album, having a very somber tone combined with insane blast beats that give you a serious assault on the senses in the best way possible. The lyrics are centered around a siren's hymn, so to speak, that entraps the protagonist in a role of death and destruction. This is a somewhat shorter track, but it packs a major punch and employs more of the fantastic semi-clean vocal tactics that add extra flavor to the intensity. And with that, we move on to track 3, Barren and Breathless Macrocosm. This track appears to me to be in the perspective of some divine entity that can basically decide to wipe out the entire universe if it so desires. In the last verse of the track, the lyric, "No remorse for the careless creatures of the earth," repeats several times, indicating that this entity is done with humanity and wipes out the entirety of humanity with no remorse. Kind of a heavy thought, honestly. Like, what if there was just something waiting for the day to, so to speak, push the button and just everything. That's a pretty harrowing thought, to be real. Track 4, Underneath a Sullen Moon. This is a much more mellow track, not to say it's not heavy, because it certainly is, but it generally flies under my radar for some reason. The track is basically about a man forsaking religion because everything feels so hopeless, and ends up being hung and realizing that in fact there does seem to be an afterlife of sorts in this world when his soul is drug into the moon and once more bound to suffering. The final words of the hangman being, "I hang in sorrow with no dispute. Just know I am sorry, I swear to you." I realized this after I had done more research and after I had written the script, and this was actually most likely the protagonist of the story, doing that to himself, which kind of makes it even worse because just realizing that this man is in such a hopeless state that he has no other alternative in his mind, and he does that thing and expecting that he's just going to be gone and buried and there's nothing left to it, and then no, in fact he gets taken to some form of afterlife and is forced to suffer even more because of the things he's done. Track 5, Oodenophobia. I think I pronounced that right. It's That's a word. This song is absolutely heartbreaking and terrifying for anyone who has udenophobia, the fear of nothingness or the void, which I personally do have. There is so much despair and sorrow in the lyrics and the vocals, and this is my first official recommendation. If you only hear one track from this whole album, make it be Udenophobia. The chorus, while sounding almost hopeful, nearly brings a tear to my eye, and it reads, "Dark surrounding me, black is all I see. This won't contain me. Is this just a dream? I can't feel a thing. This dark surrounding. Just eternal dark. Nothing more." Track 6, Embracing Nocturnal Damnation. This is a very symphonic track that kind of bridges the gap between heavily story-oriented tracks, in my opinion, while still painting a clear picture of the journey of this tortured soul. It appears that he is searching for Umbra, presumably the deity of this underworld, and he has completely forsaken his own soul in hopes of finally being able to rest. Track 7, Dirge of the Void. Another absolute banger, very high on my list. This song deals with the Dirge of the Void, or some may know it as Call of the Void or Intrusive Thoughts. Basically, the protagonist is being lured by the goddess of the void to pay for his sins. The lyrics, "Agony seeps in, and I try to mend it. I can't take back the things I've done. This is my repentance," sums it up pretty well. "She's in my ears. She's in my mouth. She's in my mind." Dirge of the Void. Track 8, Chthonic Odyssey. Now this track is really something incredible, seeing how it incorporates not one, but two acoustic guitar solos, an excess of Latin lyrics, and one of the most heart-wrenching choruses I've ever experienced in deathcore. This tells the protagonist's tale of actually regaining his will to live and leave this hell and no longer be under the manipulation of these evil deities in the underworld. Realizing that these evil deities don't really have his best interests in mind, he realizes that it would be better to simply be buried in the ground, and that this was not helping him atone for what he has done. The chorus reads, "Life finds its way into the void until the veil is shut again," and goes with this intense chord that instills hope and motivation that you can in fact get out of this hell, even through excruciating pain. If the will to escape is strong enough, you can overcome the ultimate torture. And this is the part of the album where I finally grasped the whole concept that none of this is to be taken as there are gods and demons and the protagonist has eradicated the human race and that he is being sent through hell because of it. This is fully about the hell we create in our own minds. In extreme depression, whether it be from things we've done or things we think we're responsible for, that we delve into this awful world of inner torment and suffering that with enough strength and willpower, we can overcome the most impossible challenges and pain in our own minds. In the end, we are all our own worst enemies. And on that note, after the second acoustic solo, let's fly right into track 9, The Dreaded Mystic Abyss, a nearly 10.5-minute long instrumental-only track that goes so many places it should get frequent flyer miles. This track is quite cohesive as one continuous piece. However, it changes and morphs as it goes in such a way that by the end it feels like a completely different song, but that's a good thing. If it was just 10 minutes of repetitive deathcore, like blast beats and deathcore, that would honestly be pretty lame. But at long last, we can fly right into the final track on the album, track 10, Malediction. This face-melting finale features the protagonist finally escaping his hell and emerging alive. However, realizing that this is turning into a recurring theme in his life. The chorus, "Am I to live in nothingness? In death I live to dwell the days away. In fathomless dismay, am I to roam forever gone?" Essentially saying that to die is dismay and to live is agony. Watching as the universe goes on to extinguish, and yet he's not allowed to leave. Therefore, paying his penance at last. But to what end? And there you have it. This actually went to a lot more dark places than I thought it would once I started reading more of the lyrics in depth, but regardless, I consider Melancholy to be an absolute masterpiece of an album. It's great to get hyped up to. It's also great to relieve some stress if you're just feeling bound up. It's maybe you want to have a good cry. It's good for that too. So if you have any different interpretations, I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Links to the album can be found in the video description to stream the album on probably Spotify and YouTube Music, whatever I can figure out on there, maybe Pandora. Anyway, listen at your leisure. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any recommendations for another album to review, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. Remember that you are an awesome human being, and I'll see you in the next video.